Hello, kindred spirits. I was doing some online research and I came across a website run by a very conservative Christian online ministry, and there was a series of questions and answers. And one of the questions was, how do I get right with God? Um, okay. And then the answer involved lots of exhortation about sin and the Savior. And I just looked at that and said, maybe I could offer an alternative perspective. You already are right with God. Okay? God is unconditional love, which means you can make a lot of mistakes because, yes, that's what sin means, to err, to miss the mark, to make a mistake. And God still will not condemn you. God's out of the judging business and has been out of the judging business for eons now, although apparently a lot of people still haven't gotten that message yet. Oh well. But the issue is here, if you don't feel right with God, it's because you don't feel right with you. Once you get right with you and you can perceive and feel the flow of God's unconditional love in your own energy field of consciousness, love, matter, and energy, then you'll know you're right with God just the way you are. And no, you don't have to be perfect to be right with God. You just have to be right with yourself in order to perceive it. But again, my main message here is just the way you are already right with God. And the question then becomes, how do you become right with you so that you are at peace with yourself and you can feel and thrive in that flow of God's unconditional love? Now, again, I've been talking about that emotional body and how you can't do an end run around it. This is all a part of that, because the only thing that separates us from God is not God's judgment of us, but our self-judgments masquerading as righteousness and hiding in the deeper regions of our subconscious or emotional body. That's the barrier. And it's self-imposed, which is the good news, because if it's self-imposed, it can be self-released. So really, being right with God is simply about healing yourself, removing all those self-judgment and vow barriers to the flow of God's unconditional love into your own energy field. Once you start that process and you begin to feel that love and recognize it for what it is, you will be far easier on yourself, and thus you will be easier on other people. Because truly, we only treat others to the extent that we treat ourselves. In other words, if we are hard on ourselves, even if we don't recognize it consciously, we will be hard on other people. We cannot treat anyone any better than how we treat ourselves. And self-judgment is cruel and mean and limiting. So I urge you, start going within to look for those self-judgments and be assured that when you find them, they will not master you. You survive them, and you will survive and thrive once you find them, examine them, and release them. Because again, you are already right with God. Now it's time to be right with yourself. Until next time, vaya con Dios.